listen. My love can flood, oh, it can dampen any sign of war against you. I will be the one who stands beside you.
Through the chain or wooden fences, I'll be right there. I'll be your fortress. Those who call your name, they will call mine too. I will be the one who stands beside you.
I will, I will, I will, I will, I will be yours. Your wounded heart will never stop you, though it's been battered and tormented. Now we'll carry it, now we'll soldier through. I will be the one who stands beside you. I will,
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 I
I will be yours. I will carry you through thorns or roses. I will keep you strong in times of despair. It's my body, you, my angel in the darkness. All I ask is just one thing.
I will, I will,
I will,
I will,
I will,
I will, I will be yours.
Port of Call, folks. Thank you guys for coming in to chat and perform for us.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
We will hear a bit more from Port of Call later, but stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. Joining us here now in the studio is a woman who is a playwright, author, performer, and director. She has just filmed a guest role in a new mini-series called Caught with our friend Alan Hocko. She's an award-winning author and has performed with many local theater groups, such as Rising Tide Theater, Resource Center for the Arts Theater, and recently joining the Artistic Fraud. Please welcome Miss Bernie Stapleton.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Hello,
having
Bernie.
me.
Thank you for coming in to
Hi.
chat with us.
Oh, I love your tie and jacket. It's a great ensemble.
So, first off, can you give us a background on yourself, like where you were born, grew up, and went to school?
Sure. I was born in Northwest River, which is a really tiny community in Labrador, and I lived there maybe only till I was 6 or 8 years old. And then my family moved to Marystown, which is on the Burin Peninsula. So I like to say I have dual citizenship status here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I've worked all over the country and in different parts of the world. And now I make my home here in St. John's, and I love it very much.
So when did you first get interested in the arts, and what caught your attention to pursue it?
I first got interested in the arts when I was in high school in Marystown Central High, Gary, and a visiting theater company came to the school and they were doing workshops and some things like that. And I'm a very shy person. And when I was younger, I was extremely introverted. And I found something very, very appealing about the arts and about taking on different roles and particularly making people feel good and feel happy. That really appealed to me.
Do you think that the industry itself has grown a lot since you started with the number of people and venues and resources available?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. When I was younger, it was fairly unusual to think that anyone could pursue a career in the arts. And as I was growing up, I started to see people on TV like Wonderful Grand Band, Codco, people like that, and that became inspiring to me. And over the years, I've seen many, many changes in the arts. Like, for example, now we have the Grenfell School of Fine Arts, which didn't exist when I was coming up through the ranks. And now people can go to the National Theatre School, and there's so much film and exciting TV being done in YouTube channels, which I think you have a special affinity for. So I think that the world is bursting at the seams for young people who want to get in the arts today.
Now, a little while back, you had the show Brazel Square going on. So do you think there are all kinds of Newfoundland and Labrador folk tales and secret stories out there about places and groups of people from our past that would make great plays for the stage?
I do. I believe in that so much. And a lot of my writing is definitely focused on those stories from our past that we just don't want to forget about, and I definitely don't want young people to forget about them either. And with my play Brazel Square, which we had a wonderful time with all summer, we just got to explore all the comings and goings of all the different people who would come to the boarding houses of St. John's. And we had everything, from celebrities, politicians, people coming in to go to the hospitals. Anybody who had any reason to come to St. John's way back when definitely stayed at a boarding house on Brazel Square. And if people want to know where that used to be, it actually used to be exactly where the Delta Hotel sits right now, right downtown. Because I actually had people who have said to me, oh yes, I used to live in number 10 and it's underneath the Delta now, which I always thought was really interesting because it's like the houses still exist, it's just that they're underneath, so we don't see them.
Now, I know you have created many different characters and have performed them. Where do you get your inspiration to make up all the different personalities for your characters?
Sometimes I think I myself have many different personalities, and I think I've just learned to accept that. Because I think we all have different aspects of ourselves. We have people we are who we are when we're with our family, when we're alone, when we're fooling around, in front of the mirror. A lot of my inspirations do come from people that I actually meet in real life. So I might encounter someone in the grocery store, or it may even be a neighbor of mine who says something funny, and I'll just run with it and try to exaggerate it a little tiny bit, and hopefully they don't figure out what I'm doing.
So what do you think sets the Newfoundland art scene apart, say, from other big Canadian cities like Toronto?
Everybody always says that in Newfoundland and Labrador we have the most unique and one of the most vibrant arts communities in not just the country but in the whole wide world, and I think it's an innate part of being from Newfoundland and Labrador. I think there's something about the way we grow up, our language, our customs, our accents, just simply who we are in this province. It's indefinable. I often say that when you're from Newfoundland and Labrador, you have an invisible umbilical cord. That you can move wherever you want in the world, but you're always going to be from Newfoundland and Labrador, and maybe you're always going to want the whole rest of your life just to get back here. So it's the magic of this province, I think, that infuses us right into our very heartbeat.
Now, what would you say to a theater director if they came from another province in Canada and said, Bernie, I am thinking of writing and producing a play in Newfoundland and Labrador with an all-local cast. Tell me why it's a good idea.
Right. Well, I would say, aren't you a lucky duck, first of all, to be able to come here and do a show like that, because you're going to have the pick of the crop. Because, for example, you could end up with Andy Jones in your play. You could end up with the Once doing the music for you, Marilyn Bernard, Amy House. You have so much talent that lives right here. And I think maybe in other parts of the country, it might be true that sometimes you can't get access to the people that you really admire. They're hard to get at. But here, it seems to be that you can do an outreach and people are really willing to talk with you, even if maybe they can't do your project. I know that anytime I've ever needed a hand with anything or I've ever wanted to cast anybody, I've had no issue at all in getting in touch with people.
Now, here's a question we like to ask on our show to a lot of our guests.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to our current government here in the province, what would it be?
I would say that you definitely, most definitely, you please have to reconsider your attitude towards our libraries and our access to libraries in this province. And not only that, I think you have to increase your funding for libraries and increase your funding for the arts and culture in our province. Because we are a vibrant industry, we pay our taxes the same as anyone else. And when you look at a beautiful program like this and how much it gives not just to the youth of our province, but to people like me who love watching this show, I just think you have to continue to fund it, because right now we have a national reputation that basically says we have one of the best cultures in the nation, but you can't just let us do it all on our own. I really believe this government has to make a more considered investment into the arts, or you're going to lose it.
Okay, well, now, Bernie, we're going to play a little game I like to play with all my guests.
Okay.
It's called Get to Know Me.
Okay.
I'll ask you 5 questions, and you'll come back with the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite Newfoundland actor?
Amy House.
Favorite place to hang out in St. John's?
My favorite place to hang out in St. John's is definitely the LSPU Hall.
Yes. Now, name a song you sing out loud to when you're alone in the car.
Oh, you're going to break my heart. My current song that I love to sing is one that actually, it's a vintage one that I used in my play Brazel Square, and it's called Anyone, but we changed it to Brazel Square, and so the song begins, Brazel Square, Brazel Square, Brazel Square, Brazel Square. And our cast does such a good job on it that it's going through my head all the time.
Okay, well, now it's time for the famous NL Now selfie. So why don't you grab the selfie stick there?
Okay, I'd love to.
Okay.
All right. Get there.
Ready? Okay.
And smile.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming in today to chat with us.
It was absolutely my pleasure. I was a little bit nervous coming in because sometimes being on camera makes me really nervous, but you're just so good and you made me feel so relaxed and comfy. I just want to thank you so much.
Well, we thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
So, to all our local viewers out there, just like us here at NL Now, be sure to go out and support our local arts community. Okay, stay right there, folks. We will be right back. Back to the show. So we're back here again with Port of Call. Hello, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh.
That happens.
Well, thanks again for coming in today.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for having us.
So can you give us a little bio on the group, how you got together, where you are both from?
Sure. So we both went to Memorial University and studied business, and about 5 years ago now? Yeah.
so.
We got randomly assigned to a group together in a class and realized we're both musicians. And from there, we started jamming a little bit here and there. And about 3.5 years ago, we got serious about performing and writing and stuff like that, and formed Port of Call. Shortly after that, we also became a couple because we realized that at 3 years at that point of knowing each other, that it made sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of went from there. We've been the last 3.5 years now writing, recording, performing here across the province, and a few gigs here and there in Toronto as well. And yeah, that was sort of we developed from a love of another band, another male-female duo called the Civil Wars, who are unfortunately not together anymore, but they're a group from the States that sort of did this folk pop country kind of thing that we're sort of trying to corner in on. I originally come from Beta Verde. I grew up there and moved in town about 9 years ago. And
I'm from St. Philip's, so just outside of the city.
yeah, it's all town to me.
So how did you guys come up with the name Port of Call?
It was Evan's idea, actually. We ended up deciding on that because Port of Call essentially means, well, in shipping I guess it's a little bit different, but it basically means where you're from. And so we kind of felt that our music had a little bit of a country, maybe a little bit of a traditional kind of feel to it, folk kind of feel to it, so it's kind of representative of where you're from.
I think before we became a band too, we sort of both were traveling a little bit. Cassandra a little bit more than me, but we both did a couple semesters away and that kind of thing. So when we were finally in the one spot and home together, it kind of made sense to kind of go with that sort of a theme.
It was always back home where the music kind of happened.
Yeah.
So were both your families musical growing up, or?
Yeah, both of our family, well, I would say neither of our parents, well, no, your parents are a little more, but my parents not so much. Mom a little bit more maybe, but
Fair enough, yeah.
But I have two sisters and they're both very musical, and Evan's brother is also very musical. So
my brother is. My mom, on mom's side of the family, there's a lot of singers and cousins who have done like piano and that kind of thing. Dad's side of the family, dad plays guitar, and there's a bunch of musicians and fiddle players, accordion players, that kind of thing. Father grew up in the Cadre Valley, so there's a lot of traditional music going on out there and a lot of country type stuff. So
I think we both had a lot of musical influences starting very young and started playing instruments very young. So that definitely played into it.
Certainly, yeah.
So if you two didn't get into music and form Port of Call, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Well, we kind of get a sneak preview into that because we kind of both lead double lives a little bit, where we study business as well. So I also work in marketing, so it's still very creative and all that kind of stuff, but gets to feed in with both.
Yeah, in the last little while I've worked in entrepreneurial development, and I'm sort of looking for more opportunities right now in that. And so we both do have day jobs on top of the music, and this is one of 3 bands that I play in and 4 bands that Cassandra plays in. So if we didn't form Port of Call, we probably still would be in the others.
Yeah.
So what do you think sets Newfoundland musicians apart from the other musicians in other parts of Canada?
It's funny, I actually had this conversation with somebody last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's. I think the thing that sets us apart is like a lot of other provinces in Canada run their music scene completely as an industry, and whereas here we have a lot more, I feel, of a community. Everyone musically knows everybody. It's the kind of thing where you've always got friends that you know that you can talk to and rely on, and if you're stuck for a gig, if you need somebody to co-write with, or just a lend of a guitar or something like that, there's this huge network, almost like this small family of musicians that are across the city and across the province. And we actually just got off a tour, and we had one night where we were supposed to go to Fogo on the ferry, but it wasn't running, and we ended up going to Twillingate, and we just happened to have a friend who's working there for the summer that could kind of get us a gig. And there's that sort of thing where I feel like pretty much anywhere that you could end up accidentally going in the province, you
Most
could find
people are
somebody.
willing to help. Yeah. I think the other thing too, where you kind of have to, you end up playing in the island a lot more. It's not as easy to tour and get off the island. I think you end up learning how to adapt to all those different situations, and you kind of have to like be creative with your shows and that sort of thing as well. So,
Certainly,
yeah.
If you could pick one musical person or group to perform with in the world, who would it be?
If they would get back together, the Civil Wars.
Yeah, the Civil Wars would be good. I would. There's far too many. There's just so many.
So many good examples.
Definitely one of my favorite songwriters of all time is a guy named Ryan Adams. Not to be confused with Canadian sweetheart Bryan Adams. And I think that if I had to pick one person to be able to share the stage with, I think it would probably be Ryan Adams.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Now, if people wanted to catch up with you on your tour schedules and news, how could they do that?
Our
So
Facebook page would be the best
that's
option.
the hub we use kind of for everything else. Facebook is the big one.
Yep, so you can look for Port of Call and search on Facebook, and our logo has little laurel wreath around it, so that's the one to look out for.
We're also Port of Call Band on Twitter and Port of Call Music on Instagram. I get those two mixed up all the time. So that's why I look for and that's the best spot to find us now.
Yeah.
We're kind of in between website
Working on
maintenance
a new
right now.
website.
So once the new website is up, and that'll be launched through our Facebook as well. So
Yeah.
Facebook is the best way to keep in touch with us right
Absolutely.
now. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to thank you once more for coming in. And with one more song to close out the show, Port of Call.
Thanks for having me. You go east and I go west. We'll see who passes the test, darling. I'll take your hand, I'll lead you down. You know I wanna show you around.
You and I crossed paths this time. Different lines of the same kind. Sometimes love is hard to find. Know you've been on my mind. Oh, can't you tell I'm falling? Oh, I know you are too. Ooh, darling, I'm so restless for you.
We never got along. One was right, the other wrong. It's funny how things change, how your whole life could be rearranged. Oh, can't you tell I'm falling? Oh, I know you are too. Oh, darling, I'm so restless for you. Oh, there's no way of telling. Oh, where we'll end up now. Oh, darling, I'm so restless for you.
Well, guys, before you go on, I almost forgot to do something that we do with all our guests on the show. We have to take a selfie, so I'll go grab the selfie stick.
Fantastic.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Ready? Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you for watching the show tonight, folks.